Hi, Dan here on Wednesday, June 25th, and I'm doing this strategy session intraday because I wanted to show you a couple things. First of all, I mentioned in my morning note that after yesterday's sell-off, and it wasn't like this big massive thing, it's just that, we haven't seen it in a while, and so everybody gets all freaked out. But I mentioned that the futures were down just a little bit, and I'd kind of have liked to have had them down a lot, because then what that signals is that there's been some kind of capitulation. Everybody's selling right at the open. OMG, the world's coming to an end, blah, blah, blah. And then when all the sellers are flushed out, boom, then you get a big rush of money coming back into the market. So that's not what happened. Here, this is the close up here. So you can see the futures opened, or excuse me, the S&P opened, not the futures. The S&P opened here and then traded down a bit, and that was pretty much the low. And my bet is this is going to be the low of the day right here at the open. It surpassed yesterday's low and then formed what's called a dragonfly doji, or more appropriately, a hammer with a really long tail. And so now we're getting to move to the upside. Okay, so that's fine. So you see this. By the way, this is why you don't want to just go rush. Don't just go rushing into the market in a real haphazard manner. You want to really get a sense of what's happening before you take action. So anyway, so let's look before I get to the others. Okay, you look at the XLE energy. It's not, this is still down on the day from where it was yesterday. Oil services, essentially flat. The XOP, essentially flat as well. So we're not getting a big rebound here. We're not getting a big rebound at all. Now, we'll just see what the market gives us. Yesterday I said on a lot of these individual stocks, hey, you know what? It's not too late to sell. You can always buy them back using that 1% rule. I may have been wrong. I'm not wrong on saying what I said, because that's not my opinion on something. That's just a trading tactic that applies at any time of day and any day. But I might have been wrong in believing that we're going to get more of a sell-off in some of these energy names. Like here we've got some stabilization. I might have been really right. And the market could take these energy names down a lot more tomorrow. That's why it's called trading. That's why it's not called winning. And that's why I tell you I don't have a crystal ball, because I'm going to be wrong, and I'm never going to tell you that I was right or try to rationalize, make you think I said something that I didn't, or make you think I didn't say something that I did. Number one, that's not the way I roll. And number two, I kind of respect your intelligence, so that I don't think you'd believe me anyway, nor should you. So anyway, back on track here. Look, so the S&P is stabilizing. Dow, stabilizing. Transports, stabilizing. Now, this is what I want to show you. The NASDAQ, stabilizing. But it's also up 12 points today. Really, at a new high. If it closed right here, it would be at a new closing high. I'm not sure. I can't remember if we are still past. No, we're still not past this. This is so far in the rearview mirror, it doesn't matter. But we're at like at a decade high here. If the NASDAQ closes where it does right now, it still has a ways to go to surpass yesterday's intraday high. But the reason I'm pointing this out to you is this. When I look at this, when I'm banging through these indexes, and I can go through the sectors too, I typically do in the morning. I've mentioned that to you. But I'll just blast through these things. Okay, got it. S&P stabilizing. Dow stabilizing. Wonder what the transports are doing. Wow, stabilizing. Who knew? Then I will look at the NASDAQ. And that's stabilizing, but it's strong. I look at the composite. That's stabilizing, not quite as strong. It's down a little bit. So then here's what I do. I look at the NASDAQ 100 components. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these now. That would take a while. But this is the NASDAQ 100 components, and I'll rank them in terms of percent change. And then I'll start blasting through them, like TripAdvisor's the highest, the best performer now, up almost 3%. So I'll look at this and say, okay, this is close to, we'll look at the weekly chart. You know, hey, it's close to testing a new high. Not a great buying opportunity. You know, you buy uptrending stocks on pullbacks. You don't buy them when they're up near the top of the channel. So this is not a good buying opportunity. However, you can buy this stock right now and make it a low risk buy. Low risk meaning you're risking a small amount of money. And the way you do that is you buy the stock where it is and say, you know what? I think if it falls back below $100, I don't want to be long this stock. So you are risking about 8% on this trade. You could also do it another way and set a really tight stop because you're anticipating a breakout. So you want to set a super tight stop here because if the stock falls back a buck and a half, you know, you're going to say, crap, I knew I shouldn't have bought at resistance. Why do I always do that? Seems like I always buy here. Stock pulls back, I sell here, and then this is what happens. So you got to kind of know yourself. But I went through some stocks that I want to go through with you, and most of these, I think they're all in the NASDAQ 100, but I had some others I wanted to look at. Okay, first of all, what do you think this means? Okay, Vertex had like some great news on a drug. I forget what it was, but it seems, I think it's cystic fibrosis. I could be wrong. Probably am wrong. But so they had a massive pop yesterday. This is a great example of why that old Wall Street adage is buy the rumor, sell the news. It's not stand aside during the rumor and then buy the news. Now somebody bought right here. Okay, somebody bought right there. Hopefully it wasn't you. If it was you, pause the video, go into the bathroom, look at yourself in the mirror, and slap your face really hard 3 times and say, I'm never going to buy the news again, unless it's Broadcom. The point is, when you get this big, massive gap here, this is not something that you want to buy. Absolutely never, ever, 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 ever buy that. Never. You will be correct in standing aside every single time except once when the stock keeps going up. And do you know what? Think of it as a missed opportunity which compensates for all the times that you also missed the opportunity to lose a bunch of money. So if you get news on something and it's like a big, huge gap up, you don't get excited about like, oh my gosh, is it too late to buy, Dan? Yes, it's too late to buy, and you don't even want to be asking that question. You need to know the answer to that. Okay, so I don't know how far down this is going. It was actually, you know, a pretty good short yesterday at the open. It, you know, turned out to be a really good short, though I will say I didn't take it. Again, I was busy. I kind of have a lot of stuff going on right now, so I don't get to take all these. But it was I did look at options, and they weren't particularly liquid, though. What I would have done is sold like a bear call spread, even the hundreds, 105s, 110s, something like that. But the stock was, you know, it was strong. Again, look at this. Okay, the stock was pretty strong. Now it's down, what, 10%, 8%, something like that from the high. But I was looking at buying puts or selling a spread or something. The stock fell down for 15 minutes and then started stabilizing sideways. Okay, that's kind of not supposed to happen on a gap like this. This thing is supposed to just kind of implode, find its footing somewhere right in the middle of the gap, and then maybe start going up. So when this stock falls back a little bit and then starts trading sideways, I'm looking at that thinking, you know what, unless I'm going to watch this stock all day long, I don't want to be involved. So I wasn't. But again, case in point, this is why you never, ever, 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 repeat after me, ever want to buy the news on a stock that gaps like this. I've talked about this before. This was another one here. Only the lemmings and the idiots, but then I repeat myself, bought right at the open on massive numbers. They crushed it. The stock gapped way up. I don't know if it was a short squeeze or what, but this was the mother of all shorting opportunities. So again, I'm pounding the table here. Here, sound of me pounding table. Because this is the most, not the, but one of the most important things that you can learn in trading is that you got to stay away from the one thing that you want to do. You got to stay away from it. And buying a stock that gaps up for fear that it's going to continue to run is not where you want to go. It's a low probability trade. Okay. Expedia, just mentioning this because it's working. The stock's formed a little bull pattern here, bounced off the 20-day moving average. So I think you got an entry here. Okay, Facebook is kind of slowly breaking out here. Not too late to buy Facebook. Broadcom. This is what I mentioned. Like, sometimes it does pay to buy the gap. First day, it did not. And by the way, here's a tactic for you. When a stock does this, gaps up, trades down, and closes there. But this is really the range here. That's really the range right here. Okay, you stay away from that unless you're short. But if the stock surpasses this level, two things are going to happen. Number one, probably actually three things are going to happen. Let's see how many things I can think of. Those that didn't buy because they're waiting for more of a pullback, boom, they're going to buy. Those that shorted the stock because they get it when a stock gaps up like that, they're going to cover because they're disciplined. And number three, those that bought some are probably going to buy more. So the stock continues to move even though volume is declining. So you want to wait and then buy a breakout above that initial day high. So like Vertex, for example, here's when you want to buy the stock. Stock printed 98.80, buy it at 98.81. You'll make money. I'm giving you pearls. Okay, Baidu is working. I know it's up at this close to this resistance here, but the stock's really working pretty well. Up 3 days. If you can catch it on a pullback, do that. VIP communications, I don't really cover this much. Trades plenty thick, but look at what it's doing. It's finding support right at the 50-day moving average. Okay, I think this is going to work. I think this is going to work just fine. So this would, in my view, be a good entry with a stop, say, just below the lows here of 834. So with a stop just a little bit, I would just, well, I don't know. I was going to say $8, but then if you got to stop below $8, then what's going to happen? Okay, your stock comes down, hits the low here of what, 760, and then bounces. So my point is, I guess, you just take a small position. And then when the stock starts moving higher, and it will, then you start adding to that position. Okay, Celgene, if it closed now, I think it would be at an all-time high. This is, again, a stock that I've held for a long time, and I held it through this entire downdraft. This explains why I held it through the downdraft, or why it was okay for me to do that, because now the stock's up to where it was before. And one other thing, just in case you're wondering, had I known that the stock was going to fall this amount of money, I would have sold it up here, like maybe on this 50-day moving average break, and then looked to buy. But in my long-term portfolio, like I think the biggest, last time I checked, the biggest position I had was Trinity, because it had gone up so much, or maybe United Rentals. But typically, I don't have more than 4 or 5% allocation to one particular stock in my portfolio, so I can't time all of those stocks. I don't want to. And so, but anyway, Celgene's working. Another one that's working is Amgen. Here's your support right down here. It's working just fine. Google, you know, it's bumping up against this resistance. I would want to buy any pullback, but this sure looks strong. And frankly, if you're buying it at 578.86, you're going to make money because it looks like Google's going to come up and test this high. Okay. Comcast, I've mentioned this yesterday. This is breaking out. I think this is a buy right now. Okay, Fiserv is close to breaking out, the thing that's appealing to me is this 50-day moving average. That works. Boom. That's what I think we're looking at. Your stop is right there. Dan, where are the trades? And then the last thing is Western Digital. There's not a trade here right now. I just want you to keep your eye on it because it's up against this kind of like 95. I mean, here's the real congestion here, but the way the stock's trading now, you want to watch for a breakout here. So anyway, hope this intraday video helps you, and I'll see you in the forum tomorrow.